Tonight, Hollywood witnessed something unforgettable, a tribute so emotional, so powerful, that even longtime fans were left speechless. For the first time ever, Tom Cruise, yes, the man who is cinema, finally received an honorary Oscar. In the way director Alejandro Iñárritu honored him, left the entire room stunned.
I began hearing that Tom Cruise, yes, Tom Cruise had seen my first film, Amores Perros, and was screening it at his home every week, inviting friends to watch it. And I was astonished, and I assumed the stories were exaggerated. Then the film received an Oscar nomination, and I still had not met him. In fact, I didn't meet him until 12 years later when I crossed paths with him on a stage at Paramount. And when I introduced myself to thank him for his selfless generosity, he shook my hand firmly, looked straight into my eyes with those laser-sharp retinas, and with relentless precision, speed, and intensity, he described scene by scene every performance, line, edit, and camera angle he loved of the film. He knew more about my film than I ever did. Many of you in this room may have probably had a similar moment with Tom. It's very impressive. And 25 years later, having shooting a film with him for several months in London, it's even more remarkable because I know it's real. Tom is fully present. He sees you. He hears you. He connects every single moment. Because he knows films aren't built on ego. They are built on eye contact. His enthusiasm is contagious. And for a pessimistic person like me, I didn't know, actually, what to do with so much sunshine and so much confidence. I was like uncomfortable. But I was spoiled and I got used to it, and I doubt I will ever find someone like him, to tell you the truth. People often describe Tom Cruise in the language of force or grandiosity. Big stunts, big box office, big legend, big long career, all true. But tonight, based on my experience, I want to measure him in millimeters. Because what's truly defined Tom Cruise is not how far he runs or how high he jumps. It's how precisely he decides to move. Those tiny calibrations, the tilt of a chin, the half-breath before a sprint, the millimeter between silence and revelation, every breath, every eyebrow, every grin, half cocky, half terrified, the shoulder, his hand, the hip, the pause, the diction, the intention on every word, every flicker of thought in his eyes, every rhythm of movement. That's where his real and invisible craftsmanship lives. On his face resides the language of emotions. His smile is its sword. His artistry is built on micro decisions, and all of it is carefully engineered as his most dangerous stunt. I personally witnessed the process. We spent months rehearsing every detail for a complicated sequence. His character has plenty of fast dialogue and demanded emotional shifts, physical transitions, and changing gears from satire to madness with intricate blocking with a crowd of extras.
What happened at the Governor's Awards wasn't just another Hollywood moment. It was history. After 45 years of redefining what it means to be a movie star, Tom Cruise finally received an honorary Oscar, and the speech that introduced him is already being called one of the greatest tributes in recent memory. That speech came from Oscar-winning director Alejandro G. Iñárritu, the man behind films like The Revenant and Birdman. But instead of giving a traditional introduction, he shared a story that revealed something many people had never heard before. Tom Cruise changed his life long before they ever met. Iñárritu explained that 25 years ago, when he was just a first-time director, he kept hearing rumors that Tom Cruise, one of the biggest stars in the world, was watching his small independent film every week with friends at his house. At the time, Iñárritu didn't believe it. Why would a superstar take the time to uplift a young filmmaker? But years later, when they finally met face to face, Tom Cruise shook his hand, looked him directly in the eyes, and described every scene, every performance, every camera angle of his movie. He remembered details that even Iñárritu himself had forgotten. And that is where the tone of the night shifted, because the more the director spoke, the clearer the message became. Tom Cruise isn't just an actor. Tom Cruise is an obsession-level craftsman. Iñárritu said that Cruise's greatness isn't only in the big stunts or huge box office numbers. It's in the small things, the millimeters, the tilt of his chin, the timing of a breath, the tiny shift in expression before a line, the exact rhythm of his movements. He said Tom Cruise builds performances the same way he attempts death-defying stunts, with precision, intention, and complete emotional commitment. He shared how on set, Cruise rehearses tirelessly, making even the most complex sequences feel effortless. One moment he's switching emotions mid-sentence, the next he's choreographing intricate blocking with total accuracy. Iñárritu said it was like watching jazz inside clockwork, both free and perfectly controlled. And he didn't stop there. He reminded the audience of his range. He talked about Born on the 4th of July, where Cruise dropped all vanity to show a heartbreaking portrait of trauma. He spoke about Magnolia, where Cruise broke down on screen in one of the rawest scenes of his career. He highlighted Eyes Wide Shut, where Cruise carried an entire film through silence and restraint. According to Iñárritu, these emotional risks were just as dangerous and courageous as his physical stunts. Then came the moment that surprised everyone. The director joked that Tom Cruise is basically Mexican because of how much spicy food he can eat. Even Guillermo del Toro can't compete. But after the laughter, the speech turns deep again. Iñárritu ended with a story that says everything about who Tom Cruise is. He described Cruise as a young actor, sitting outside Jack Nicholson's house, staring at the lights and imagining what it would feel like to reach that level of greatness. And then 10 years later, he was inside that same house, reading lines with Nicholson for A Few Good Men. It wasn't luck. It wasn't destiny. It was action. It was work. It was focus. It was the relentless pursuit of something bigger. And that's the legacy the director celebrated. According to him, Tom Cruise has done what almost no one in Hollywood has ever achieved. He didn't just build a career. He built a continuum, a life of purpose, a lifetime of discipline, a devotion to the magic of cinema. Iñárritu ended by saying something powerful. Tom Cruise doesn't just make movies. Tom Cruise is movies. And when the crowd stood up cheering, it was clear. This honorary Oscar wasn't just overdue. It was a moment Hollywood needed. Tom Cruise is still running, still pushing, still reinventing what's possible on screen. And if Iñárritu is right, he has decades more ahead of him.